Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Code Realize, Guardian of Rebirth. We are on Victor Frankenstein's path, and we try to infiltrate the palace to let Queen Victoria know information that we know about the terrorist attacks, but we have been captured and thrown in the dungeon and denied audience. So, we're about to hear Leonhardt's past story here, so that's where we'll start. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story.
Long ago, I was a hooligan roaming around the poorest parts of town. I was forced to a life of crime to support my young sister. I was caught pickpocketing the day of the Queen's coronation parade. Her Majesty herself was the one who saved me from the brutal beating the guards were giving me. After hearing the kind of life I led, she gave me one of her brooches and told me to sell it for money to get by for a while. Then she offered me a paying job, saying I could become a guard if I was willing. She promised me that she would strive to make this a great and prosperous nation. That was when I decided to remake my life, becoming Her Majesty's sword. Since that day, I have never doubted that Her Majesty is the greatest ruler there could ever be.
Leonhardt's story is surprising. Victor seems to think of Victoria as an enemy of sorts, but Leonhardt truly respects her. Which one of these is the real Victoria?
A situation that you may find difficult to accept is awaiting you.
What?
But please, I ask that you have faith in Her Majesty. She fights out of her love for her country.
With this, Leonhardt bows once to me, before turning and leaving the dungeon. You want me to believe in Victoria? Leonhardt's voice seems to indicate that this is an earnest plea. It's tough to tell what was going through his mind as he spoke, but at least for now, I can't just sit and do nothing. I take a deep breath and switch mental gears. Time to put our plan into action. Getting caught, that is, getting put in the palace dungeons, was one of the first steps in our plan to begin with. This is where our mission actually begins. I check and make sure that the prison guard has fallen asleep at his post. Then I gently raise my handcuffs to my lips. The chains react to my poison right away, smoke rising from the melting metal. In a matter of minutes, the handcuffs peel away, leaving my hands free once again. At least it comes in handy in times like these. It's not difficult to escape the cell either. I gently place my index finger over the door's keyhole. Just as the cuffs had, the area around my finger begins to melt away and slowly turns into a steel-colored mush. Then, I open the door to the cell and walk out into the hallway, trying to avoid making any loud noises. The guard is still asleep. Thankful for my good fortune, I cautiously approach the guard and... I'm sorry! I knock him out cold using just my hands, a technique Van Helsing had taught me. I take the keys from the unconscious prison guard and lock him up in a different cell than the one I had been held in. Then I make my advance quietly. I already know the location of where Victor is being held. I use the infiltration skills Lupin taught me to the fullest, and somehow make my way all the way there without being caught. I find Victor's cell right away. This is where things get a bit difficult. As expected, Victor's cell is heavily guarded, with 4 guards all crammed into a narrow hallway. The pressure is much higher than when I made my escape. From here, Victor and I will have to work as a team. First... Victor, I'm here to rescue you. My sudden appearance attracts the guard's attention.
How did she?
The guards start to rush towards me when something rolls by them, a button from Victor's white lab coat. It comes to a stop near the guard's feet. Then it releases a blast of white smoke that instantly fills the corridor.
What is that? My eyes, they're burning. Damn it! Get some help!
going to happen. I run between the guards in their confusion and knock them out, one after another. That's everyone.
Wow, you have some skill.
I was only able to handle them because you distracted them. If they'd been ready for me, I probably could have only taken one.
It's still amazing. I guess we have Van Helsing's training to thank for that.
I give him a brisk nod. Suddenly, the horologium gives off an intense heat, and the pain drives me to my knees.
Cardia!
I'm fine. There was a flash of pain and heat, but I'm all right. I can move. There's no problem.
Are you sure? Maybe you should head back before you overexert yourself and cause some real harm.
It's true that the pain has been so unbearable that I couldn't stand, but it's also true that I feel completely fine now. I shake off the feelings of doubt that are beginning to spread within me and look at Victor again. No, I'm fine. Let's just keep moving forward. We're here to stop the terrorist attacks. Let's meet with Victoria and get her to see our side.
I see. Sure, you're right.
I smile and nod. I'll get you out. Hold on. I set him free the same way I had let myself out and melt his handcuffs.
Thank you, Cardia.
I'm glad we're both all right. Victor nods slightly.
Shall we get going? The throne room isn't too far from here. We're finally about to accomplish our mission.
Yes. If Lupin's information is correct, Victoria should be alone in the throne room right this moment. I'm sure there will be a few guards on duty. We'll have to get past them somehow.
Cardia, are you ready?
I wouldn't have come this far if I wasn't ready.
True enough.
I try not to fall behind as Victor begins to dash down the halls, and I break into a run to keep up. We finally arrive. Queen Alexandrina Victoria's throne room in Buckingham Palace. However,
something's wrong.
Victoria's first words upon our arrival accurately describe the situation. Although this was a covert operation, we were prepared to face some resistance. We arrived here without running into a single soldier. It was so trouble-free, it's as if we were being invited in. More importantly, there is no trace of Victoria, who was supposed to be here. Does this mean Lupin was misinformed?
Or it could mean that somebody realized we were snooping around.
I get a strange feeling. It isn't silent in here, but there's the sound of many people being careful not to make any noise. I suddenly get chills from an odd sensation. It feels as if we're being watched by a great number of eyes.
All men, ready your weapons! Aim!
I hear a booming voice, and guards appear from their hiding places in the shadows. Leonhardt!
Damn it!
Victor stands protectively in front of me and looks around us. It's hard to believe so many soldiers could have been hiding in here. They quickly form a half-circle around us.
I thought I told you to have faith in Her Majesty. I'm disappointed that it's come to this.
We hear a series of footsteps that seem to shatter the tense silence in the room. The guards directly ahead of us step aside to clear a path and raise their guns in a salute. Walking towards us is a commanding woman with a beautiful smile.
Queen Victoria.
You look so serious, Dr. Frankenstein, as per usual. And it has been some time since I saw you last, young lady. I trust you have been well. Well, that's certainly an indifferent reaction to meeting the nation's leader. You should bow your head at least.
She chuckles as if she couldn't care less about the air of tension that permeates the room.
You really exerted yourself this time. If you'd only stayed put, I would have paid you a visit.
I'll never do what you want me to do.
You're a funny man, Dr. Frankenstein. You've taken the exact steps I needed you to, and walked right into my trap. And now I see you've developed a sense of humor.
How did you know we would come here?
You're a small group, but each individual is highly capable. If their partner, Dr. Frankenstein, was wrongfully accused, I was sure they would take some sort of action again. You practically crash-landed your ornithopter at the ceremony last time. I was sure you'd try to reach out to me. If you wanted to get to me alone, common sense would dictate that you try to catch me when security is low. I'm sure you realize by now that my schedule, that I would be here alone today, was bait to lure you here. She smiles at us charmingly. However, our panic only grows when we are faced with the current crisis. And, are we discussing the same matter again? You'd like to have your status as wanted criminals revoked.
I'd like to talk about that too, but there's a more pressing concern at the moment.
So what you have to say is so important that you're willing to risk getting caught for a capital offense.
Exactly.
Are you trying to get revenge against me?
That's not why I'm here. It's something bigger, something that involves all of Britain.
All of Britain, you say? Victoria's mood takes on a noticeable shift. While she had been almost ethereal, cryptic, and seemingly above us all, suddenly she is sharp as a naked blade. Such is the force of her gaze. Everyone here is a loyal soldier who serves me, and I am truly concerned for the well-being of this nation. I'll listen to what you have to say. Tell me what it is you've come all this way to discuss. She gestures at Victor, indicating that he should speak now. The pressure in the room is still intense, as if to remind us that the wrong word or move could get us shot on the spot.
Twilight is progressing with a large-scale terrorist plot involving Zicterium. They were also behind the Zicterium-based attack that led to you putting out another arrest warrant for me. It was probably part of their plan to shift attention away from themselves. The goal of this plot is to cause mass murders in the capital cities of every country in Europe. Victoria, as the leader of Britain, I want you to put a stop to this terrorist conspiracy.
He explains how the attack using Zicterium would be carried out. It's such an intricate plan that with my limited imagination, I found it hard to think that it could ever happen in this world.
I beg you to believe me. I don't want to turn this country, or this city. I don't want London to turn into a city of death.
Victor's desperate pleas are the only sound in the room, and all I can do is stand and watch. There is a moment of silence. Queen Victoria has closed her eyes, and it's difficult to tell what she thinks. It's unfortunate, but I won't be able to take any action based off what you said.
What?
Her words of rejection are delivered so calmly and politely.
It's the truth. Isaac Beckford left behind an entire research facility right here in London. You'll understand everything if you just go there. You'll see that I'm not a terrorist, and that the true danger is...
I didn't say that I don't believe you.
Then why?
On the contrary, I have no doubts about anything you've just said, but I won't stop these attacks. I'm unsettled by these words, and I can't help but speak up. Why not? Why don't you want to stop them? I had to ask the question, even though I was already afraid of what her answer would be. She smiles as she responds, "Because I'm the one pushing this plan forward." What? I was behind the attack on the palace. It's unfortunate that I had to waste some precious Zicterium for mere show. She sighs daintily, as if the matter didn't involve the murder of countless innocents. She then looks over at us and speaks boldly, as if to clarify things once and for all. I am the one who used Twilight to launch the terrorist attack. I simply took over the plan Finis and Isaac set in motion.
Are you out of your mind? Why? Why would you do such a thing?
It's an option I had to take for the sake of Britain, just like the Vampire Wars 2 years ago.
The Vampire War, an attempted genocide against Delhi's race by the British government. The humans were victorious, and Delhi's people lost everything they had.
An option you had to take? You're wrong. You made the worst possible choice available.
No, it was necessary.
You wouldn't be able to say that if you'd seen that hell. If you'd only laid your eyes on it even once. How many lives do you think had been lost because of your creation, Zicterium?
I've seen that hell many times, Doctor, and I still say that it was a necessary decision to make. Victor is unable to contain his anger, but Victoria remains cool and composed. The two confront one another from the opposite ends of the spectrum. You said the terrorism was necessary. Why is that?
Weren't you listening? It's so Britain can retain its way of life. Everything is done out of love for this great nation.
She says this condescendingly.
The previous King Edward took strong measures against other countries to pursue his colonial policies. He took over foreign countries and monopolized trade, turning wealth into a naval power, making Britain a mighty force. Of course, the price we paid was high. Other nations across Europe united, waiting for an opportunity to bring us down. It was Britain against the world. That's the sort of conflict that was brewing. Our nation's defenses became our top priority. And then the genius Isaac Beckford surfaced. His appearance was nothing short of a blessing for our country. Through Isaac's inventions and discoveries, Britain achieved massive military power. But it still wasn't enough to protect us from the entire world. We needed to make our forces look bigger than they actually were, to intimidate other countries into leaving us alone. In other words, we needed a live demonstration.
And you targeted the vampires.
Indeed, we needed to show unquestionable strength without invading another country.
The vampires, then, were ideal candidates.
They were few in number to begin with, and the public weren't invested in them at all. We used that to our advantage. You used them for such a petty reason? Petty? If we hadn't had that war, Britain would have fallen doubtlessly in the most humiliating way possible, a foreign invasion.
Wasn't there any other way? Dialogue, diplomacy, methods like that?
If those had been the best options, I would have gone with them. However, at that time, war was the only available method. And now the time has come. Britain's technological and military power have come to surpass the rest of Europe combined. The calamities left behind by King Edward remain, and the embers of conflict he created are still smoldering. It's true that you reap what you sow, but it doesn't make it all right to allow Britain to fall. It doesn't make it all right to rob the people of this country of their tranquility. I have been guarding Britain's military technology strictly as classified information. But in the not-too-distant future, the day will come when this technology gets out and our superiority will no longer be intact. When that happens, all that awaits this land and its people is destruction and catastrophe. That's why the best and only method available that ensures the survival of Britain is to launch a world war right now, at this very moment, to bring all of Europe under Britain's rule via our superior strength. The greater the gap in military strength, the smaller the damages sustained in war. That's why I am about to ignite a war right now. Do you understand?
Victoria's words are those of one who carries the weight of an entire nation on her shoulders. It must be such a heavy burden, and the decision not an easy one to make. When she delivers her plans to us with such confidence and resolve, I almost find myself swept up in her views. Why would you need to stage a terrorist attack in order to achieve this?
I've been increasing the authority of the Crown and weakening the voice of the Parliament. But there will inevitably be those who cower at the prospect of going to war against all of Europe. We cannot win this war unless we are united in solidarity. What better way to do that than to direct their anger at one foe? That's what you meant about the incident at the palace being a show? You're pushing the entire country towards war. Exactly. When one of your own is killed by an enemy, hatred towards that enemy will come naturally. As for you, Dr. Frankenstein, once you've been captured, we will publicize that you were an informant for the French. After that, similar terrorist attacks will take place in various European countries. Spain, Germany, the Netherlands. Everyone who is arrested for these attacks will of course be connected to Britain, and the nations will fall into confusion. Once we reach the point at which confrontation between Britain and the rest of the continent is guaranteed, war will be inevitable, and the one who will remain standing at the end of this conflict will be Britain, as I planned.
The scale of this plot is too huge for me to keep up with.
What gives you the right to take the lives of innocent people for the survival of Britain? Your idea of justice means nothing to those who will die through your terrorism.
You are most hilarious. You are definitely best suited to devoting yourself to research behind closed doors.
What?
Who said anything about justice? This is evil. I deserve to be hated and resented. If it means I can protect my country, I am prepared to smear my honor with evil and corruption. What about you, Dr. Frankenstein? Do you have the conviction to thwart me?
Victor doesn't say anything, but stands still, his tightly gripped fists shaking. Then, Victoria looks at us and smiles.
I'm in no hurry to kill you. I do need the two of you, Dr. Frankenstein and Cardia.
How did you know my name?
We've already looked into the underground lab that Dr. Frankenstein mentioned. We found information on Isaac, Finis, and you. I came to know your name from the various documents we discovered about you. I was surprised. Who would have thought Isaac created his own daughter? I didn't realize he had emotions before his death.
Before his death, I immediately react to Victoria's choice of words. Do you know my father?
How could I not, being the leader of this country? He's the man who changed the very foundation of this nation.
Her words prompt me to look over at Victor. It's my fault Cardia was created. Judging from Victoria's attitude, Victor is not my father. Then why did he write that in his own journal?
We've gone a bit off topic, but as I mentioned, you can be assured that I'm in no hurry to kill you two. I just have a small favor to ask of you. If you meet my conditions, I'll lift the wanted notice on you, and we can forget any of this ever happened.
What do you want?
Victoria smiles gleefully, hearing the animosity in his quiet voice.
I appreciate you being so open to hearing what I had to say. Dr. Frankenstein, my request to you remains the same. I would like you, the creator of Zicterium, to begin producing it once again.
What? Victor created Zicterium. Under Victoria's initiative, alchemists attempted to create the Philosopher's Stone, accidentally discovering Zicterium. I remember this clearly, as Victor had told me about it before. Victor created Zicterium. When Victor had been thinking about researchers, did he mean himself? Seeing my reaction, Victoria continues to speak.
Oh, by the look on your face, I take it that he didn't tell you as much. But doesn't it make sense now? Why he feels so strongly about this thing called Zicterium?
It's because something I happened to discover has led to the loss of so many lives. I can't stand by in silence.
Victor glares at the Queen, as if he might charge at her at the slightest provocation.
Victor Frankenstein, you were once called a genius and achieved great things as an alchemist. What you happened to create by chance can no longer be considered an anomaly. It has become necessary for Britain and her people. You are the only one in the world who knows how to produce Zicterium. You have the ability to change the course of a nation. According to the documents found at the laboratory, a massive cache of unused Zicterium is somewhere here in London. We have been unable to find any trace of it for now, so it's of no use to us. We are counting on you. Place yourself under the government's protection, begin refining Zicterium once again, and share your knowledge with us. That's all it will take to save Britain from complete and utter annihilation.
So Victor's knowledge that the government has been after him is about how to make sectarium.
The choice is clear, and need I say more?
Victor shakes his head in response to her half-threat, half-invitation.
My answer won't change, no matter how many times you ask. I decline, Victoria.
Really? And why is that?
Even if it's to protect the country, that doesn't make it right to kill innocent people just going about their lives. A weapon with solely deadly uses. I didn't study alchemy to make something like that.
Even if creating that weapon allows you to save so many more lives as a result?
Once a weapon has been created, it can be used any number of times. That's what a weapon is, a tool to hurt, not to save. I will never do what you ask.
Victor looks back at the Queen with a fierce resolve. He stands tall and confident, even while surrounded by guns. I've never seen him so gallant before.
I appreciate a man who can stand up for himself. Well, Dr. Frankenstein, why don't we discuss how to deal with you at a later time? Cardia, dear, I have a gift for you. Would you accept it?
For me, I am caught off guard by the sudden attention.
Leonhardt.
Yes.
Leonhardt takes a step towards me the moment his name is called and hands me a small box.
I hope it's not the pendant.
I open it and find
A bomb! Oh, a pocket watch.
a small golden pocket watch. However, this watch has only one hand to indicate the passage of time. The numbers on it are not the standard ones usually seen on a clock. What's this?
A special timepiece made just for you. That watch shows you the time you have remaining until you're no longer yourself anymore.
What?
You seem upset. So you knew. You knew, and yet you deliberately didn't tell her. It's quite unlike you to be so sentimental and weak.
Victor turns his face away, avoiding my eyes. When he speaks, it is with great caution.
It has to do with your body. The horologium is going through a transformation. Its properties are changing.
It's changing. So, where exactly does that leave me? Victoria, sensing my doubt, chimes in.
It means you're going to become a real, full-blown monster. An unstoppable force of death.
I'll become a monster. I'm unable to respond right away to this sudden revelation. I should be completely used to being called a monster by now. I'm an artificial life form, with a deadly poison that eats away at anything I touch, running through my veins. Even so, why do I feel so anxious? I'm already a monster. How much worse could I possibly become?
Finis did something to you at that research facility. He facilitated the awakening of the horologium.
She draws something from a pouch or pocket in her dress. That's... The object in her hand is the very same thing Finis had held against my chest at the research facility. I don't know what it's called, but it's that pendant with the red gem. My hands automatically clutch at my chest as I remember the unbearable heat I had felt at that moment.
The documents we found shed some light on this item as well. Cardia, it seems that this pendant plays an important role in transforming you into a greater form of being. Once you've been awakened, after some time passes, you will change into a different form.
That will be the force of death. Victoria smiles at my weak whisper.
You're a quick one. Once in that state, you'll be completely unstoppable, because...
The poison stored in her body will be fully released. The current methods of keeping it contained will be ineffective. And we're not talking about melting anything within a few meters. Worst case, all of London will perish from the poison.
No, that can't... Victor's words caused me to stagger back a few steps.
You were aware of all this, and you kept her ignorant. The nature of your kindness is questionable, Dr. Frankenstein.
Unfazed by Victor's piercing glare, the Queen calmly continues to speak.
But listen, Cardia. We have calculated the time until the critical point using the documents, and have created that watch. In 30 hours, you will become the most destructive monster this world has ever seen. Too little time to make any decisions.
30 hours. That's all the time I have left. In a little over a day, I will be the center of a cloud of death.
Does knowing that now give you a better understanding? I'm glad you came here before it was too late.
It should have been you who died instead of Mama! But even as Victoria speaks,
You must never know love.
I hear my own voice in my head.
I have the means to protect you. Even if you do turn into a monster, I can control you and prevent you from killing anyone. Cardia, do as I say.
Victoria's words have a gentle ring. She extends her hand to me, as if inviting me in.
Cardia, you don't have to listen to her. I promise, I'll take care of your poison. In just 30 hours? 30 hours is more than enough time. You're bluffing, Dr. Frankenstein. Your calm is unfounded. I'm not bluffing. I'm determined. I will save her no matter what. I'll get that poison out of her body. I swear it.
Victoria throws Victor a derisive glance at his outburst, then turns back to me with her unchanging, thin smile.
If you don't take action to prevent it, you will be responsible for the deaths of everyone you hold dear. Even Dr. Frankenstein, standing beside you, right this very moment, will die from your poison.
I cautiously glance over at Victor. His expression is tense. Just the thought of his death makes me extremely uneasy.
I'm suggesting that you allow me to protect you, so none of that happens. Come with me, Cardia. I can save you.
Memories of my past begin to surface in my mind, as if summoned by what she says. A loved one. Her voice growing weaker. A dark cave. A body unmoving. That's right, I am.
Cardia, don't fall for what she's telling you. Victoria only wants to use you. You don't have to listen to her. You see? Don't you want to save Dr. Frankenstein, who genuinely wants to save you? Come now.
The Queen and Victor stand to either side of me. She beckons to me unmistakably. If I take her hand, will I be spared from killing anyone? Will I be spared from killing those I love? Will I be spared from killing Victor with my own hands? If I'm only going to relive my past mistakes, and the poison within me will eventually kill Victor, even if Victoria is only trying to use me, I want to be under her protection. It's these thoughts that prompt me to take a step forward. But Victor stops me, putting a hand on my shoulder.
You mustn't go, Cardia. Calm down and look me in the eyes.
I don't want to become a monster.
Cardia, listen to my voice.
And to go along with Victor, we have to step back. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, Victoria. Alright, we've already made the decision, but anyway, we're gonna have to break this video here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in my future videos. I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.